Okay. Hey, what's up, super friends? Hello, Lewis and Clark debate. It's great to see you again. So I'm going to attach to this video. Also, I know I'm not looking at you. Okay, yeah. I'm going to attach to this video a document that basically includes my views on the philosophy of the arguments, a little bit of my thoughts on how you can squeeze good resolutional analyses into this argument, and really sort of a neglected negative side, but I feel that the negative side is coming from a really strong position anyway, because it can argue that data theft is actually a violation of your right to property over your information. So negative can, like, the economic value of all of the data that can be stolen, and it's going to be stolen because hackers are definitely going to steal this data at some point. Like, there was the hack of the... Anyway, there are lots of really high-profile hacks, even really recently. So if you get any group, even like anonymous, that's like decentralized, attacking any, like literally any data storage center, and it doesn't even have to, like I said, it doesn't even have to be like Dell that's attacked. It has to be like, it could be like Cisco, or any type of system, or any type of data holding system. So I sort of lost my train of thought. But anyway, so I'll include in the paper like 3 affirmative arguments and then 2 points for the neg. I didn't pull it up before I started this. Oh wait, yeah, I did. I put it up full screen. Okay, so for the resolution resolved, on balance, the benefits of the Internet of Things outweigh the harms of decreased personal privacy. Lot of philosophy in this one. Number 1, I put in notes that obviously good definitions are really necessary because you have to define privacy. I think that for the affirmative, it's going to be a really strong point if you can take the philosophy that I put in here into this paper and really run with it, expand it into something much greater than I've created. But essentially, the argument that I push forward is actually from a philosopher. So number 1, since there's no national boundary to the topic, that means that there should be things like Supreme Court of the United States cases and Supreme Court cases regarding all privacy, what they think of as privacy, should hold very little weight. So what should hold a lot of weight are real philosophical arguments. So rather than the law, we should be basing our opinions off of what the law is based on, which is the philosophy behind it. So I found a philosopher that I don't necessarily agree with, but actually I pretty much do, that is saying something really helpful to us, and that is that the right to privacy is a subset of the right to property. The right to property is protected. Okay, so there is no harm to privacy because it does not exist on its own. That is to say that the right to privacy is really just part of a larger whole, and that larger whole is the right to property. Your right to property over your information, your right to property over your own body. You have a right to decide whether or not somebody can see your body, like I'm wearing a shirt right now. That's very important because I'm not waiving my right to property over my body being seen. Although, if I were to like walk out into the street without a shirt on, that would be, number 1, pretty weird, but number 2, it would also be a big deal because I'd be waiving my right to property. So, I don't want to be condescending. I'm sure you all get that. Yeah, so it's what it's called is Thompson's simplifying hypothesis, and there's a link in there to where I got that. Argument number 2 for the affirmative, I feel that this is really strong. I would be using this for sure. That is that the Arab Spring, all revolution, literally all social media is totally dependent on the Internet of Things to work. So the Internet of Things being tech that connects, that means that the Arab Spring was totally caused by the Internet of Things, and really most dictators are getting a smaller and smaller foothold on power. You can also look at how social media spread literacy, how it empowers women, really, like, especially if you look in these really conservative societies, a woman might be in her house, but once social media comes around, she has the ability to connect with other people, especially other women, put herself in a position where she can empower herself and her group as a whole. So really, we're looking at social media as a social revolution, and so every benefit of social media stands firmly on the side of the affirmative, unless the negative comes up with a better argument. which might happen. Okay, number 3 is the Internet of Things increases economic efficiency. I threw in something like, I threw in a report and like a basic description of how this happens, but it's like, security systems are a lot easier to manage. Like, things aren't on VHS anymore. You don't have to pay someone to review those if you're paying a security person. So nowadays, all you have to do is connect your webcam to the Internet of Things, or the real internet. Anyway, so I linked this to about $11.1 trillion GDP growth by 2022. At cumulative Internet of Things GDP growth, and we're already seeing some of that. And that's from McKinsey & Co. That's a really good source. So anyway, so that's essentially my arguments for the affirmative. They are in review. Right to privacy is a subset of the right to property. And I realized I didn't touch on this enough last time. Really, your right to property is not going to be violated. We still have civil courts. That means that if anybody tries to steal your information, that's exactly like stealing a car. That's exactly like stealing this blender bottle right here, or the guitar that I'm sitting on right now. So we're always going to have civil law to protect you from your data being stolen. Your data is your information. You can waive the right to privacy over that information, which again is a subset of the right to property. But most importantly, nobody's going to be stolen from. I think that's one of the most important defensive points to make, and especially, I didn't do this, but if you can boil down my first argument, that is the right to privacy subset right to property, you can really, like, if you can make it like 1 or 2 sentences that's really clear and really easy to understand, I think that would be like really powerful. Moving on to neg arguments. Hackers, people will be stolen from on a massive scale with like how many people are on Facebook, right? And more people are going to be connecting their car, really, like their phone especially. Their phone especially is probably, even if you just have the metadata, which is just like when people make calls, and then who they're calling, that says a lot about a person. Imagine if somebody was to hack into Facebook servers and get into all those closed groups in Facebook. They'd like see a lot of crazy stuff. So that would be a violation of the right to property. And I mean, that would be really negative. I also included as a second contention that the economic value of privacy does exist. There is some quantifiable, really cash money value to privacy. And as that decreases, we're going to see decreases in econ. So, really, what I mean to say is, you guys know what to do. Make sure to link it to econ, because that's really powerful. Make sure to link it to deaths. Excuse me, make sure you don't get beaten by Dakota on this topic, because he's good, but you guys are better. Awesome. Also, I want to throw in this here. So I'm in a fraternity, and I miss you all so much, and I love you all so much. But anyway, it's so good here, and I just had a class early in the morning, and my teacher's awesome. I'm in what's called FIG, which is where you have a bunch of classes with a bunch of people, but they're all the same classes that everybody else has, and so you all just like move class to class, and I'm sort of the king of my FIG. I just want to throw that out there. But anyway, so yeah, great to see you guys, or great for you guys to see me. I'm also gonna attach, I found the debate like summary video that we made in 2014 when like Max Huffnagel was in it. So I'll attach that to the end of this video, and I hope that you all watch it and you all get like really pumped for debate. Please tell me how you did. Nick and Aiden, make it happen. Do it also, Noah. You know, I know I probably didn't mention some people that are really important, but those are the people who came to mind as really having like a lot of potential that was untapped last year. So everybody keep doing what you're doing, but most importantly, keep winning for Miss Carpenter so that Mr. Flaherty's ego doesn't have to deflate, because that would be negative. Okay, that would be a negative econ impact. Anyway, okay, I love you guys. Have a great day. I'm going to end this. I thought I could end it at 10 minutes, but I'm going to end it at 9:40.